And we're live! Hello and welcome to the 83rd episode of Game Theory Gang. I'm Maddie Allen with ChrispyMan of HexFire.io, Tobiwan Hexobi, and our special guest for the night, we have Gerardo from Mintra.ai. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate the invite.
Well, you were one of the most popular guests we ever had on the Tuesday night show that we've been doing, and that was back during the bull market, of course.
Well, everyone's famous during the bull.
And now you've done you've got a project that you have that might be releasing soon. So we're super excited to hear from you. And of course, you're also the founder of LookIntHex.com, which is one of Richard Hart's favorite sites. So I think we'll be lucky to have you tonight.
Yeah, man, it's been a journey. That project you mentioned has slowly become a product. It's and that may launch this month is closer to a will launch this month, as I've already publicly committed, as you've probably seen through a few tweets. And yeah, man, I'm excited to be here to catch up with you guys. Back to Hexaco, bringing it back home, deep in the bear, and here we are. 83rd episode. When I saw that as I was retweeting this, I was like, man, this dude does not stop. And that's what we love to see. That's what brings us together. We coalesce because we share things, and one of those is that we just don't stop. We just keep going.
Hell yeah. And so I've been following all of your projects and everything. One part that I'm particularly interested in that maybe I didn't know last time we had you on the show is that you kind of you had a particularly interesting journey in terms of kind of being self-made in the crypto space. Do you care to share about what it's been like for you to basically make your own success in crypto?
Yeah, and I will also acknowledge and apologize for the lack of camera. StreamYard wasn't having it with me today, but luckily Maddie brought up a really cool Easter egg picture of my face in the thumbnail. So my big old mug is right there for all of you to enjoy. My story, I mean, it's been a rough ride being the entrepreneurial archetype, the quote unquote underdog. It's like things weren't easy. I wasn't self-made at 18, for example. I wasn't even at 21, right? It's like it takes years to do these things, especially when you when you go to university, not really having a plan, which is what I did. But luckily, I studied things that actually resonated with my skills, and I'm blessed to say that I was born with an aptitude at math, and that developed especially during university years as I studied engineering, physics, math, bounced around between like 3 or 4 different majors that captured those kinds of concepts. And here I am after all of that. While I was doing that, I was dabbling in a bunch of other stuff, entrepreneurial stuff like crypto. I was trying some fitness stuff here and there on Instagram when that was popping. Got a little following there. So that was my first real taste of like social media. I actually started making my first real money though, entrepreneurial wise, with graphic design. Funny enough, one of my buddies was like, hey, there's this gig and there's a lot of work. I need some help. I was like, I don't know how to do that. So he was like, well, I can teach you. Okay, I like money. Why not? Let's figure it out. Let's learn the skill. I learned some Photoshop, did some ads for an ad agency. So I was thrown into that world for a bit. And that was the original capital I used to buy Hex back in like 2019 and 2020. Deep in the at the beginning of the story. You could probably still find I don't want to dox my addresses, but if you guys are smart enough, you'll find some like AA lobby mints from like early. I still look at those sometimes just for fun. But yeah, Hex was the vibe. It still is the vibe, but it was the the main narrative for 2021 for me, for my I guess obsessive personality. I was making YouTube videos like daily for a minute there on Hex between the good old months, April to September 2021. If you look at like when I started heavy making videos and when I kind of stopped in terms of my average per week, for example, it was from the ride of 1 penny up to 50 pennies and then a little dip after that. So my timing was pretty gnarly. A lot of people enjoyed that as we said earlier, it's everyone is right during the bear. Everyone's a genius, and people enjoyed that. Some people made money, or so they comment. Only they know for sure. And looking at Hex was I would say a huge reason for that whole arc of my story, which it's still up and live. I'm still showing it love today. I like to make the analogy of it's that first child can finally take care of itself. It's kind of chilling as of now. Like, it requires some updates every now and then, but it's just hanging out now, taking care of itself. Mintra's still like, it was crapping itself for a minute there every day, like a newborn, but now it's up and running. But yeah, LookIntHex was the original child. That kind of, brought this sort of gap in my story. After that, when, fun fact,
Yes,
I launched.
I was going to say, so you became like widely known in the Hex community for your data website that was helping people to understand particularly like the rainbow regression pattern of the price of Hex going parabolic. Can you maybe catch people up who weren't around, like just a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the actual site itself, I didn't go too deep into. My personal favorite chart is the first set of charts. It's the ROI charts. And that's the one that brought popularity to the site, particularly because it was one of Richard's favorite charts. And I don't know if it became my favorite after that or if it was before. It kind of gets blurry now after the years, but it basically, for those who are math inclined, it takes the prices, the earliest available data of price data for Hex, ETH, BTC, and right now there's BNB and then staked Hex as well. So I have liquid Hex and staked Hex on the ROI chart right now. And it takes those blue chips and compares and normalizes all of their price data to ROI from launch. So they all start at the same point in time. They're all scaled to the same scale. So you're not looking at, the ride of 35-cent ETH to $5,000 ETH compared to the ride from like 10,000 coins for 50 cents to 1 coin for 50 cents. They're different scales. So they're all normalized on that chart to make it nice and pretty to scale. And pretty much it's a race on that chart. It's ROI from launch. It's who outperformed given the same amount of time. And, given that they're different windows of macroeconomic environments, but nonetheless, they're normalized to their ROI from launch. And yeah, that's my favorite chart. Personally, I think that's Richard's favorite chart. Nice. Yeah, holding it up. And there you go. There she is. It's a beaut. And what I like there is the Hex share. You can see that just having staked Hex has outperformed having liquid Hex, which is obvious. You just get more coins. More coins is more than less coins. And we could have PHEX on there. PHEX plus EHEX, PX share plus EHEX share, and the works. I definitely will show much more love to this site once I can breathe. My devs can breathe.
Well, this was a huge contribution to help put it into perspective, and it was. I mean, your site came out before Crispy's came out, hexfire.io, and so we were. I think people were just really hungry for the quantitative knowledge. The Tuesday night show that we have continued for the past 151 weeks was called Quant Gang for the first about year and a half, and then we switched the name to Game Theory Gang so that we could explore more topics. But I mean, the quantitative analysis has always been a big part of Tuesday nights for the community, and you as well as Whales Only, I think, had made both unique contributions to that space, and so we're all very grateful, that you helped people see the light at a penny.
Nice, man. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, I was saying, the site's banging. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. Yeah, Quant is the.
Go ahead. So you became well known in the Hex space, and then I guess you saw a need for something to be built on PulseChain, and then you ended up, I guess, like starting one of the most popular sacrifices that happened. Um, what was the scale of the sacrifice that happened? What were people sacrificing for?
Hey,
Nice.
guys, let me jump
Yeah.
in for a second before we start going down this rabbit
Please.
hole. I wanted to throw in one other thing. I was one of Gerardo's first follows on YouTube and Twitter, and we actually got to be friendly, and we spoke a few times. So I'm really excited to see the evolution in his path in the Hex community and in crypto in general. Really excited about the next chapter. I am a sacrificer for Mintra, so I believe in what they are cooking and excited to see that come out. But one of the things I found interesting in our early discussions was that I think you started off early. I don't know what social media platform it might not even been on social media, but you were like a life coach or like what's the word? Not or personal trainer, and you had that kind of. So I guess where I'm going with this is, Maddie's thrust and mine, and I think Crispy, even though he's a little more smart aleck about it, sometimes it's about overall holistic, not only financial freedom and health, but like physical and mental health as well. So I was just curious, kind of how that, especially from such a young age, because a lot of people, unless they're born into it with sports or those types of things, or a family, a lot of times people don't come into like physical fitness and the benefits of that kind of lifestyle and the dedication to those things until later in life. So to be so young and like going for it, I found very inspiring. And I just would be curious of your thoughts in general, as far as just like kind of your philosophy, not just with crypto, but kind of life.
Good question.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's super important. And yeah, you're an OG, man. I remember you were one of the first to like reach out, hit the DMs, even join the LookIntHex VIP when that was a thing before I sunsetted that and made it all free in public. So yeah, appreciate that, man. And you've been around for the whole arc. That's for sure. So you were able to hear that story when it was closer to when it actually happened, which is, my arc, I guess, my story. And I mean, man, yeah, we're all over the place chronologically, but I'll try to like skip through the ages of, I guess, late teenhood up into where I am now, which is the first year after freshman year in high school is when I really realized, like, oh, it was sort of an initiation, right? You're thrown into high school to the wolves, right? 2,000 people every day, just it's insane, right? I don't even know how that's a thing. Anyways. So high school hits, and I'm like, oh, first year hits like a truck. That summer, I'm like, I'm just gonna get in shape. That was the thing. It's like, who's killing it? It's the athletes. It's the freaking jocks. It's who's who's having the most fun. It's usually the people who are either confident delusionally or confident because of some actual aptitude or skill or something actually confident worthy, I guess. I'm like, okay, let's do this right and let's get in shape. It was running back when I was 15, and yeah, I got in shape that summer. That was the first time in my life I'd actually ran a mile in like the 6-minute range. So that's huge. I guess I've always been kind of competitive, always about the numbers, always about the stats. So I'm like, ooh, 6 something. I could shave a few seconds off that. Oh, this is starting to get on the level of the fastest guys in my school, right? Because like it's during summer, I have nothing else to do. You're in high school, you don't have a car, you're just like walking everywhere, so that helps too. And I got in shape, man, and that, I guess, that ethos that carried with me up till now, over a decade later. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm over 25 but under 30, so I'm not new to the block, but still a bright journey ahead. But yeah, that was the beginning of that, and I carried it on, transitioned from freaking just running to running plus calisthenics to calisthenics plus weights to kind of ditching the running to then right now I'm just doing this hybrid, like little boxing sometimes, little weights sometimes, little sauna, little cardio. It's just like, it's like a video game. Like, which stats do you want to level up? Your endurance, your strength, your this, that. I'm very much a numbers, stats kind of, I like gamifying things. And so that helps a ton with the fitness aspect. But no, that's huge, man. It's not just crypto. It's not just the wealth. You can't enjoy that as much if you're not, you know, killing it in other areas. And everyone tries to kill it in as much areas as they can. But I think that one's one that people should prioritize more than they do. And like, you notice it with even the billionaires. Like, what's Zuck doing now in his free time? He's kicking ass, dude. Like, what else are you going to do as a man other than just kick ass in your free time? Well, what else can you do?
That is good advice, and it's like it's definitely a habit to get into and stick with, because I can tell you from experience, the older you get, if you have a layoff for whatever reason, injury or just lifestyle change or getting lazy, it is much harder to get back on the horse and get over those early sore days and whatnot. But I find, like, personally, when I'm taking better care of myself physically, I'm just sharper. I'm making better decisions. And, I think that goes hand in hand with, crypto, which is so complex. And this kind of dovetails into where Maddie was headed with, what you got on the horizon. It's kind of amazing that any of this stuff works at all. I'm 52 years old. I know nothing about NFTs.
You don't look it.
I mean, I like it, but it's like, I don't understand NFTs. I just don't. And I'm sure it could be explained to me. I just haven't dug into it. It seems like a younger man's game, maybe. But I had faith in you, and I really liked what you had been doing in the space. And I thought, you know what? It's like, if this is something that he's working on, I want to be a part of it. So it's like, I did a small sacrifice, and I'm really excited to learn and, evolve that part of my body, which is my brain, and, continue to learn and not get to be like some old codger that's just like, NFTs are all garbage and, they need to go to zero. I think that there's a place for them, but I'm interested to see, the rest of your journey here. So I'll zip it and let you let Maddie tag back in with his questions about what's next.
Nice, man. Yeah, man. I can dive right into that. So let's see. Mintra.ai. It's been a journey. It's been quite a journey. January 2022 is when I thought to myself, there's this cool PulseChain thing that Richard is launching. And at the time, to be fair, we thought it was launching like that very month or the next month. Soon. It was always soon. And so I was like, all right, time to get to work here. Time to figure out what other guys are paying for what they're building for their NFT marketplace. Oh, that's not easy. It's not easy to build an NFT marketplace. Something as simple as getting the owners of a collection. Have fun figuring that one out, right? It sounds simple in theory, but as you said, Toby, it's a miracle this stuff even works at all. And to be able to figure out what we figured out and build what we've built, what's on testnet now is a testament to that. It's quite incredible, and I couldn't have done it without Paul, aka Hex Live, CTO of Mintra, GameSys. You guys know he created the leaderboards for PulseChain and PulseX Lead. So he's an absolute killer when it comes to development. He's our DevOps security guy. No detail gets left unturned by him for sure. To the point where he was pointing out, like, you don't need an apostrophe there with NFTs unless it's it's an ownership thing. If you're just talking plural, no apostrophe. It's like every detail with these guys.
Protect
what you want. Yeah, it's like everything, man. And so that arc, there's a little bit of glue, which I've started introducing into the story. Between LookIntHex and Mintra, it's PLS Punks. It's the NFT collection that I launched on Ethereum before anyone really was about NFTs in the Hex or PulseChain community. The first I will give credit to is Hex Toys. I believe they were the first, or at least the first to do it big and in notable way that was recognized by the community. Hex Toys killed it with that. Their little Dev Kyle figurines, and I don't know if you guys have figurines, but I was always wanting one of my own. Not yet.
Toys, please.
Okay, right? Last I checked,
one with a DeLorean.
Dude, that'd be perfect for a little accessory. Like, they only have like 15, I think, on their collection right now, like token IDs. So they could definitely keep adding.
That would be cool.
I know because we support them on Mintra.ai now on the mainnet system. But yeah, Hex Toys, they were the first. And then I think I was the second. I really want to get this right. So if anyone else was second and I was third, fourth, or whatever, please let me know. Because I think I was second and I want to flex that. And then after that, I think it was Staker Class guy. And he started launching all his stuff. So like I guess I have a track record of being relatively early to the coin, early to the quant on Hex, early to doing something that people didn't really like at first. I got a lot of crap for launching those NFTs on Ethereum. Description is PulseChain save us, by the way. Fun fact. And save us, indeed it did. I was just comparing some gas costs, and it's about 1,000 times cheaper to do the thing that I was particularly thinking about. And all will be revealed in due time this month. But yeah, that's the arc, right? It got me into NFTs a little bit. I didn't know nearly as much about NFTs at the time when I launched. So I launched, hurts to say now, but an ERC 1155 on OpenSea. That's the Pulse Punks collection. So that will be remedied on PulseChain for sure.
Did you ever get into like collecting NFTs from like collections that became popular on Ethereum, or were you more focused on like bringing the better technology to PulseChain?
Yeah, it's funny, man. I was so focused on just the infrastructure, and it's just recently now when we're getting so close and making sure all our T's are crossed, our I's are dotted, that I've actually gone as deep as I've ever been in actually buying, minting NFTs, this, yada, yada. And it ended up happening on PulseChain. And the other day I just went on a little spree. I got some funks here, some dinos there, just like a little bit of some space apes. I think I just, allocate a little budget, nothing crazy. We're deep in the bear, and these profile pictures are fun. Like I wouldn't be surprised if you saw I wouldn't be surprised if you saw my profile picture change to like an ape or a punk or something, special PulseChain one. But yeah, it's that was the arc. It was PLS punks, and a lot of other people kind of followed. And yeah, I was one of the first to do a sacrifice for a PulseChain related project. That was Mintra back in February 2022. Raised about $9.9 million around the time.
Wow, that's a big one.
Bread. I know, right? And we've been arduously developing since. We have like I said, a killer team. We've brought multiple iterations of our products to testnet. So many cycles of writing code, testing, audits, feedback, rinse and repeat again and again and again to what you see now is the closest thing you'll see to mainnet. Just go to Mintra.ai, public beta, top right. There you go. And it's ready. I mean, what else can I say, guys? It's ready. It took 20 months. Took a lot of pulling my hair, a lot of difficult days, some harder than others. A lot of edge cases, a lot of game theory, a lot of audits, a lot of little bugs that you go back and fix. But
so to oh shit, I clicked off my thing. I don't know if I'm
finally yours, guys.
Oh, there I am. Hey, so is Mintra, so if people want to play around, it's Mintra.ai.
That's the landing page, and that's the easiest one to remember. And that gives you most of the info. It's like a PulseChain.com, right?
Gotcha.
It gives you the info, it gives you the links, and then Mintra.ai, you go there, top right, you have the docs, which to be fair leads to a private GitLab. You have the sacrifice, which leads to the leaderboard, that link, and then you have the public beta, a nice bright green, which leads to the testnet app, which is harder to remember, which is why I don't usually say that link. It's like test.v2.app.mintra.ai. Yeah.
Got it.
We got it in the show notes.
Yep. I like the plant. I like the plant that grows up on the right side when you go to Mintra.ai. That's pretty cool.
I like it too.
And much like I admitted about my horrible procrastination with Walrus a week or two ago.
Don't do it.
This is the first time I've looked at this. So I'm learning. But the other thing too is I think that our I'll be honest. And it's like I think it benefits not just me, because I'm not just trying to like be like, hey, I'm on Maddie's show so I can get like free tutorials from like all the people that are in the know on this stuff. But it's like I think there's other people like me. I don't think I'm alone you know, that don't quite understand this stuff and want to learn more, but it is a little overwhelming just to be like thrown into the ether and be like, okay, what's an NFT? And like, there's so much information. It's almost, you know, overwhelming, right? So, and it can be a turnoff for especially older guys. It's like we got our hex staking ladder, you know, we got our hex fire mentality as far as, financial independence, retire early, you know, those kind of vibes. So this type of stuff, I guess what I'm asking is like, could you just dumb this down, like for somebody that has never even heard what an NFT, and never even heard NFT before? If you could just like talk to me like a 3-year-old, I think it'll be benefit not just for me, but other people in the space, like to kind of see what you're offering. Because like one of the things, and this will be kind of at the end, I'll try to circle back to, I have a lot of friends that are musicians. And nice. I had heard early on that NFTs were really a good way for musicians to be able to like capture, you know, revenue from their own work. And then I have some friends that are artists that are of my age range and are not, don't know how all this NFT stuff works. So as I learn more about it, I would love to be able to know enough to get them involved in being able to like utilize this type of technology to further the profitability of their income streams. Because it's like these are people that are musicians and artists for a living, right? And that's a hard gig. And if this is another way for them to capitalize on that, you know, it'd be cool to hear about all the above. So that's
to
my
be
long-winded
fair.
question. Yep.
To be fair, I think the artists have an easier time than the music guys. And shout out to the music industry folks really trying to push forward with this thing, because it's not easy. I have someone on my team who does consulting for me, who she's deep in the like media, entertainment, music industry, and how it relates to the social media and royalties and all of that, the whole works. And I mean, Richard says it all the time. When you try to connect crypto to the real world, it gets hairy. It gets real hairy, because then you're trusting a human to do something. Which, why didn't you just use a database? Why did you use the blockchain? You could have just used MongoDB or Postgres or whatever. It's faster. It's cheaper. Why are you using? And I might just sound like a parrot, but why are you using an expensive, slow database? Like, no one's trying to censor your record sales necessarily. So there's use for it. There's utility for NFTs and crypto in general for probably everything for in the long tail of things. I just think it's so early for a lot of this stuff. And it's just a fun thing, I think. Like, you don't need to use crypto. The tech probably doesn't align for what you're trying to do if it's a real world music or artist thing. They're just really just trading cards. If you really want to like dumb it down, that's one way of looking at them. They're digital collectibles, your Pokemon cards, your baseball cards, your 1 of 100 vinyl from your favorite artist. It's just not a physical thing. It's a digital thing. That's really the best way I can describe it. You know, sneakerheads, you probably have met some in your lifetime or seen them. It's that. They don't even wear them. They just have them on display. Like, you don't touch them. You just have them on display. It's this thing that if you get it, you get it. If you ever collected trading cards as a kid, I know I did, so I get it. It's that. However you want to articulate what that feeling is, it's that. And it's flex value for some people. Gary Vee was really good at articulating that in the last, I guess, last top of the bull. And he was warning people too that all this stuff would go down 90+%. But he does a really good job at articulating, like, it's all a digital flex. It's the blue check mark on Instagram or now on X, right? Which now you just have to pay $10 a month. But it used to be more coveted, to where, it used to be way more coveted. And it's that. It's that really expensive figurine sitting on your friend's desk that you have no idea why he paid $500 for it, because it's just a little piece of plastic. But he says it's cool. He says it's 1 of 100, and so that's what it is. Like, people give value to whatever they want to give value to. It's people at the end of the day, and people chose NFTs. So, who am I to fight reality?
Yeah, your avatar actually that's on the screen now reminded me of my mom's collection of Precious Moments dolls. And my mom's 84 years old, and she has a curio cabinet that's like overflowing with Precious Moments, which I'm showing my age here a little bit. Most of you guys might not even know what this is. I'm sure Crispy probably is familiar. but it's like whatever people see value in and that brings them joy and they want to collect, whether it's physical or digital now. It seems like this is what this is speaking to. And then from like just kind of perusing your site a bit as we've been talking, I was curious. I'm like, is this just like an eBay for digital art, or it's like, oh wait, there's a Launchpad? So it's because that was what I was curious about, as far as people that want to like create their own NFTs, or if they want to learn a little bit more of how this stuff works. It seems like Launchpad looks like an area that people might want to dig into.
Yes, we've built 3 products into one, I like to say. It's the Launchpad, an on-chain, public, free Launchpad that democratizes the minting of NFT collections. And right now it's relatively advanced, but my guys are working some magic, and within just a few days, it's already looking like it'll all be wrapped up into even less clicks, less tutorials, less that, because that's what you want. Is you want the iPhone of NFT marketplaces. You want things to be seamless, intuitive, snappy. Just you click a button and who knows what's happening beneath that button, but it's happening, right? And what's happening is the thing that should be happening. And right now it's what our Launchpad does. It allows people to go and create their collections from scratch, out of thin air, out of nothingness. Just as of now, you do need to have your art ready and your metadata ready. In the future, very, very shortly, all you need is your art ready at that point. Right now, you need to know how to pin stuff to IPFS using a little widget. Shortly, you won't have to anymore. That's the idea. And the one distinguishing factor, I would say, about our Launchpad that I haven't seen on any NFT marketplace or app on PulseChain is they go straight into live drops, which is public minting pages. You don't need to hire a dev. You don't need to have coding skills to know how to create a minting page. And I've run into a few PulseChain NFT founders, creators, artists that they were kind of having trouble with their minting page, and they might be launching on Mintra via our Launchpad for people to mint their NFTs right there on the site, public for everyone to see and to mint with rules that are displayed and up to their choice. So yeah, I think we're the only ones who offer that right now anyways. And it's only getting better. The ability to just drag and drop your images, type in some cool traits, some name, description, price, launch, some magic happens behind the scenes. We're going to pin your stuff to IPFS, decentralized file sharing network, which is very, very similar to a blockchain, except it stores files, because you really don't want to store those on the blockchain. It's not courteous to the block space and to other users. That's right. And it's really inefficient. But yeah, so we pin your stuff to IPFS, and then from there we just reference it, and it's live, it's decentralized for anyone to mint. So that part I'm very, very proud of my team for building that. That's yeah, it's gonna be nice just seeing people deploy stuff for fun.
Cool.
Just go on there.
I was literally just texting my musician artist friends like, hey, you need to be watching this right now.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I was excited about the Launchpad thing, because that's like we kind of bumped up against that a while ago when I was telling them, like, yeah, it's like there might be some opportunity with NFTs with your, because they do physical art, like paintings and stuff that are pretty collectible.
That's
And
cool.
To be able to digitize that and turn it into an NFT was where we kind of got stuck. Like, so this seems like
It's a loose connection.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like super tied. It's just a loose connection. It's like the same person, the same Twitter account that did the art and posted it is now saying they're launching this NFT to loosely represent it. And I think that's fine. I just think people need to be aware that it is a loose representation. It's not directly tied, because when you hit the real world, it gets tricky. And there's this really cool artist. I think her name is Aruh, ARUH Arts on Twitter. She painted this physical rendition of the PulsePunks logo, of the Hex logo, of the PulseChain logo. She's just going off. And then she's launching her NFTs that loosely represent the physical paintings. And whether she ships it to them, right, is up to her. And again, that's when you start trusting a human. And that's fine. You know, if you're a niche community and you really do trust that person, you want to support, that's up to you. It's like this hybrid trustless / trusted It's not fully in one direction, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, there you go. Thank you for pulling her up.
Oh yeah,
she's been killing it
I've seen
lately.
her stuff. Yep.
And she launched some physical representations of her paintings as NFTs. Loose relations, but I think it's fun and it's fair, and this stuff is awesome to me. So
Very cool.
So yeah, that's one way of doing it for the artists out there and for the musicians too. Like we described the challenges of touching the real world with crypto. We'll just do a loose representation. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
If your community really supports you and trusts you, well, have fun.
Well, and also like something that I found interesting as far as for artists and musicians alike, that they can continue to make revenue. Is that still a thing with NFTs? Like every time that they're sold or traded, that part of that goes back to the creator?
Yeah. That's been a huge thing, a point of contention, I guess, in the NFT community. And yeah, royalties. I want to give a shout out to Open Zeppelin, the guys who wrote the ERC20 standard, the ERC 721 standard. They have the ERC 2981 standard, which is their attempt at a universal royalty standard for NFTs. So if you implement that in your NFTs, Mintra reads that, it supports it, easy. It shows. I'm already seeing on the front end, like people with their little royalties already set, because they, we're nerdy enough to do it in the smart contract. If not, and I saw an example of that today on Twitter, some dude was kind of having a fit because he didn't realize the marketplace that he was listing on required the royalty to be set in the smart contract. And so like once you deploy, you're deployed. You know that on Solidity.
Right.
You're good. You're immutable. You're out there. And so they were like, oh, they're kind of throwing a fit. They're like, why isn't there a way to just set a marketplace, or I'm sorry, set a royalty for the specific marketplace on the marketplace? Mintra allows that. If you didn't set it as a 2981, you didn't know about it, you can go in. If you own that collection, you just connect your wallet with that address that owns the wallet, and you'll see a little set royalty button. And boom, you can set a royalty, and within seconds, just a few clicks, you have your royalty there. And it's optional. Some collections, like the Staker class, I reached out to him and he was like, I don't set royalties on my collections. Very adamant, and that's an ethos thing. It's some do, and some take it for themselves. Some do and give it to a royalty pool, like the Pulse Punks guys, which eventually goes back to their holders every year. I think on Richard Hart's birthday, which I think a week ago, they distributed their first round, their first year. And it was like 300 million Pulse or something across all their holders, right? You divide that by the holders, but not too shabby, exactly. I think it was like $20 per holder at today's price, but hey, it's $20 you didn't have before. So I don't know. Some people do royalty pools. Some people do just the typical centralized royalties. Come to me, come to Papa. It's like whatever you want, whatever your style is, however your project is designed. Yeah, we wanted to make sure we supported that because like there was a whole royalties war between OpenSea and Blur. If you guys remember that, OpenSea was like, we're not supporting Blur royalties, and Blur was like, we're not supporting OpenSea royalties, and just went back and forth to where OpenSea set their fees to 0% for a minute. It was fun to watch the NFT marketplace wars on Ethereum. Maybe we'll see that on PulseChain.
Yeah, so there was from my perspective, somewhat of a vampire attack that was happening when Blur launched some sort of airdrop that people could qualify for. Me not being like a huge NFT creator, I didn't qualify for that airdrop, but I think there were tens of thousands of dollars being given to each person who did qualify. And so Twitter was buzzing about it. How long ago was that? 6 months ago, 9 months ago, somewhere deep in the bear. One of the biggest airdrops that had been happening, and it was a multi-stage airdrop. And I remember reading a little bit about it here and there that they were trying to vampire attack OpenSea, that OpenSea then had lowered their fees. Can you maybe give us some commentary on like what happened there and kind of what that means for NFT marketplaces today?
Yeah. To be honest, I was starting to look into it, and then my advisor was like, "Yeah, just focus on building. Like, don't worry about the drama." I kind of pivoted a little, but from what I did learn, it was I think Blur like blacklisted OpenSea royalties. So like if you had set a royalty on OpenSea for your contract, they weren't supporting it. You had to go set it on theirs. I get blurry on the details. I'm probably not the most informed on the particular sequence of events and all the like key points, key pivotal points. But as far as I know, it was it was a little war between the NFT marketplaces, pretty much trying to have the other guys as users and not letting them have free reign on the other guys' platform. It got messy. It got real messy. But hey, it burned
now I guess like one way to look at PulseChain is that it's a vampire attack on all of Ethereum, because we're giving everybody, well, not us, but like, you know, the decentralized world of PulseChain is an opportunity for people to come along later and claim their airdrop, which is a copy of everything that was on Ethereum is now on PulseChain and will have a value going forward because of decentralized exchange technology, because people have chosen to pair their free copy with their original copy, so on and so forth. But in this NFT world in particular, I think I would say the two things that Richard Hart was like the most curious about, or was like, you know, suggesting that people might choose to be curious about. It's like, what would the value of a stable coin that got copied over be worth? Hold up, people. We're not going there in this episode. Like, we don't have to get sidetracked with all that PDI stuff and PUSDC. But if you remember, Richard was bringing that up lots in the early days of him talking about PulseChain. The other thing that he was bringing up a lot was maybe the NFT guys would really love their free copy of their NFT, and how would that be valued, and would there be lawsuits happening because some parts of the NFT space were not decentralized and whatnot. And so I think that he had a lot of talking points when it came to the NFT side of things. What comments do you have about that, and about the fact that that Mintra might be able to use this opportunity to bring over users from Ethereum to PulseChain?
Yeah. The forked over dilemma. I mean, like we hinted at earlier, people create value out of nothingness, out of thin air. They create something and then they assign value to it. What did Richard do? He created PulseChain. It copied over the entire system state of Ethereum, all contracts, all ERC20s, all NFTs, everything, the works, all address balances. So now you have the same code over there, made fungible by the one and only Chain ID 369. And that's really the distinguishing factor. Everything else is the same. The contract address, they point to the same IPFS hash. If it is hosted on IPFS, it's the same everything, different chain ID. That's the one difference. So whatever people choose to attribute to that in terms of value. Ooh, what's this? Ethereum. Thank PulseChain for loaning the gas fees and enjoying free ERC and NFT copies. Boom, there you go. And that's huge because I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of NFT bridges. You guys feel free to ruminate on that concept if you'd like, but it's so much easier to just use your copied over NFT than think about that. So yeah, Ethereum bros, all your NFTs are copied over. Your Bored Apes, your CloneX, your Azuki, your Pudgy Penguins, your Sappy Seals, everything. It's all copied over. And some of these were very valuable on Ethereum. I think
Matty Hatties.
Mm-hmm.
What are they?
What is that?
I was saying the Matty Hattie
Hey,
collection.
Boom.
I don't know if that's a real thing, but I do know that I made some NFTs back in the day that some people might have. Hex badges.
Oh
And,
yeah, I
you
remember
could get
that.
one for day one FOMO and being
Oh, send me
AA
that
lobby
contract
and stuff like
address.
that.
I
I
want to
mean,
make sure that's on Mintra.
yeah, if it's
Hey, so,
true that Ethereum got copied into PulseChain, those must be floating around somewhere too.
They are indeed floating around.
so it looks the site looks really good, Gerardo.
Thank you.
I had a couple questions for you though. You know how so I think I know the answer, but I ask it anyways. So if I have an NFT, can I go market it on that site?
Go market it on that site.
Can I go sell it? Can I go sell it
Yeah,
through Mintra?
yeah. You own it. Go to your
So
profile. Go to your
obvious question.
portfolio. Yeah, and you go look at like, ooh, what do I
And
have?
and so to your knowledge, no restrictions to me going in and bringing my HSIs, my Hedron stake instances, and putting them up for sale, right?
They all got copied over. We made sure the HSIs in particular were good. There are a few collections that you kind of have to deal in a custom manner. HSIs, they're metadata updates like every day because they're accumulating hex, et cetera, et cetera. So there are some whose metadata updates like HSIs and Watsas in particular. It's mainly Alex's stuff, but yeah, that's like some of the best NFTs out there in my opinion, the DeFi stuff. But yeah, you can definitely list your forked over HSIs for sale, for auction. Heck, you might see some people randomly hit you with an offer on one, and you can see that too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know. I was I kind of figured that would be the case, and then hopefully you guys will be able to support the a new version of that if it comes out, right? Because I know there's some talk about having a new version. So curiously, right? You mentioned being, ruminating over forking. So I have seen NFTs forked over from Ethereum. Or not forked over, bridged over, excuse me. I have seen NFTs bridged over. I don't know if they were successful, but I saw transactions. So that's like another question. Can I take my Ethereum HSIs and bridge them over and then put them up for sale?
I don't know of any good NFT bridge right now. Please send me whatever you have on your mind because that was a concept I was kind of went into a little rabbit hole a few months ago for like a good week, but realized it wasn't worth the scope creep for my purposes in particular of launching this thing and getting it out there.
Sure.
But yeah, I've never seen like a real prominent NFT bridge, especially from Ethereum to PulseChain. And it would introduce a bunch of tricky things. It's like now you have a different contract address, and then from our end, we have to like reference the Ethereum contract because that's where the actual IPFS link and metadata and all that good stuff is living. It's not impossible to support bridged over Ethereum NFTs if a bridge existed, but to my knowledge, I haven't seen one. Fascinating concept though.
All right, we'll leave that for a later time.
Yeah,
but that's kind of interesting thing.
It is.
That idea. I know you're focused on the build of NFTs. I think I'm lagging, maybe. I think I'm pretty sure you're focused on all the right stuff to get this off the ground to start with, and just longer term, NFTs are one of those things I think really has the ability to change crypto. But we'll have to wait out and see, right? Because so much can be built into NFTs as far as proof of ownership and all that stuff.
Hey, somebody's asking in the chat about staking NFTs. Is that a thing?
What in particular do you like about that concept? Staking NFTs. If it's the slowing down the velocity of the NFTs, well, you might enjoy the fact that when you list an NFT for sale or for auction on Mintra, you can't immediately unlist it. Because why would you list it in the first place? It gets locked for 24 hours. We call it our commitment engine. We just want to make sure you don't have people just listing, unlisting, and just spamming our listeners. Like it'd be good for burning up gas, but it just seems inefficient for everyone. So that's the closest thing we have to NFT staking is like when you list for sale or for auction, you can't unlist for sale or auction for 24 hours. And if someone, someone buys it, it goes for sale, or if someone places a bid within those 24 hours, too bad, you're already committed. So only list your NFTs if you are actually willing to part ways with them. But yeah, for as of NFT staking, like locking and getting some no, we don't have that.
Gotcha.
I was thinking maybe I'd stake my NFTs and I'd get little baby NFTs as reward.
Hey man, the world's your oyster. Like PulseChain gas is effectively
little
free.
mini.
Like, this
NFTs,
stuff can be done. Yeah, my lead dev,
it works well with
all the time.
It works well with the whole orange thing, right? I stick my oranges and I'll get little baby oranges.
Tangerines. Well,
look, if you guys want to buy and sell NFTs, you can go to Mintra.ai. If you want to time lock some shit, go to timebase.me.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, that would be funny, dude. You just gave me a really kind of cool idea. Someone made, an NFT that you stake it, gives you many NFTs, that orange theme. That would tie back in nicely to the orange groves of Howie, of the original Howie test. So you could definitely do a whole thing with that.
Yeah, that would
meme
be
lords, have fun.
Right.
And it's super ironic because Howie did require managerial effort, but smart contracts don't.
Exactly. Oh, the irony. Oh, we lost
ChrispyMan. He's going to rejoin, so he stops lagging.
Okay.
Yeah, that's annoying. I hate when the lag.
Normally Toby's thing.
I know, right? It's like a knock on wood. It'll be me next. Yeah. But
you should do an infringement on ChrispyMan for stealing your move.
Hey Gerardo, have you guys done any tutorials on walkthrough videos on using Launchpad yet, or anything like that, or is that stuff kind of in the works, or something you foresee doing to kind of help people better fully utilize your platform?
Absolutely. I did my first ever full site demo with DCC and his students about a week ago, a little cool. Private Zoom. The second one was public with RH Max. It was a little low key, but it's live on his site. I did a little, you actually get to see me kind of fumble through the Launchpad a bit, get some text wrong in the JSON, and at the end we figure it out, which is kind of fun. So there's cool. There's that there, full site demo. And that's been really, really good practice. So I'm definitely going to make some more shortened, concise, without the kind of white space, condensed demos. And yeah, one of my front end guys has been doing this thing called Reactor. Those little guides you pretty much skip on every single site you visit.
Yeah.
Those are kind of important. So we're going to have one of those for the 5 people, the 1% of people who don't skip and actually want that. A whole this is what this is. This is what this is. What about this? What do you want to do? Go here. Okay, this is what this is. The whole flow of the site. That's important too. We wanted to give you guys a professional, really thought out thing, man. It's just a lot of the stuff on PulseChain, a lot of these apps, they take forever to load, or they just don't work, or they're buggy, and it's who wants that? No one wants that.
Well, and it's a good user experience is going to keep people coming back. It's if it's clunky or stuff's not working, or you don't quite understand what you're doing as you're doing it, then it's you're less likely to come back and play around with it anymore. So so I always appreciate when there's stuff like that available to the other 4 guys. I'm the 5th guy that actually watches those kind of tutorial video stuff. So
it'll be good. It'll be easy.
Sweet.
As easy as can be. So what have you guys been up to? I've talked a lot. I want to know what y'all are doing. Got Time Pays Me. We got some stats. We got TA Wiz.
I don't know if I'd call myself a whiz. I tell you what, though, my descending parallel channel played out perfectly, and we went right to the top on HEX in particular. Went right to the top of the channel we'd been in for, probably a month. and busted through it. So potential breakout. We'll see what happens in the next few days if we retest the top and keep moving up. But nice little pump recently, so that always feels better. I joke with my fiance all the time, like just with the way that like I'd use the portfolio tracker on GoPulse, and I'll check it out, and I'll be like, oh, we're poor. Like you might not want to, it's like put that Wagyu back in the freezer. Like we can't afford it today, and then we'll get a pump and be like, okay, it's Wagyu tonight, So.
That's good.
We need all of our whales to act like Tobiwan, because he's the bomb. This probably doesn't have a good segue to like all the discussions we can have about price, which I think would be a great next topic. But with timepays.me, the big update is right before we launched it and had the audit redone and everything, I was able to build in, myself and my team were able to build in a way for people to pay themselves to change a healthy habit, or basically to pay yourself not only to time lock, but to do any behavior. And so that's like something that I think still needs to be demonstrated and like popularized and all that kind of stuff. Part of my strategy has been to start writing a book to explain the significance of why this relates to actually the strongest effect size in all of psychology is not talk therapy. Psychology is known for talk therapy, but the strongest effect size out of any psychological intervention is called contingency management, where people get paid to adopt healthy habits, whether you're paying yourself to like lose weight through a behavior contract, or I worked in a neuroscience laboratory where we paid people $1,000 back in 2005 to like quit tobacco cigarettes for a short period of time. And so there's like all these examples of how powerful it can be to get paid to be healthier. However, there's something that I call the pay yourself paradox. And that basically means that throughout all of history, until programmable money was invented, there was never a way to, if you had custody of money, to be able to hold yourself accountable to it, to something you're paying yourself for. And so, but now with PulseChain solving the fee problem, and with timepays.me, there's a way for you to not only go in and decide to like time lock and drip your money back to yourself, but you can actually go in and with a behavior lock, you specify what your goal is. Like, for example, my first goal is to write the first chapter of a book about Time Pays Me. And I put $10,000 on the line. And what that does is it creates a time lock and it generates a 6-digit code. And then I can give that 6-digit code to like 2 to 4 of my friends who don't know anything about crypto, or maybe they do. But the point is that with that 6-digit code, they can't run away with the money. But once I deliver the first chapter of the book, they can see that I've achieved my goal and they can give me the code back, and that unlocks the money for myself. And so that's what I call being a behavior validator in the system. So
that's
yeah,
right.
it's a new,
you're living in the future, Maddie.
New area.
No, I love that, man. I came up with a cool little slogan while you were going up: aligning man-made incentives with nature's mechanics. Something like that. Like you're really doing it, man. And your project is one of the most wholesome, one of my favorites. I love Time Pays Me.
Thank you. That really means a lot. I appreciate
the potential of that. It's like, I know I kind of gush on it a little bit, and it's like I never want people to get it twisted and think it's just because Maddie's my friend. I'm like, trying to fluff him up there a little bit, but it's like, it's just it's a genius product. I mean, it's like, and just the reach of it, like beyond PulseChain, beyond Ethereum, Bitcoin, all of it. It's like, I mean, I think there's just such tremendous potential for that. I mean, and that it would literally do good in the world for people is, something that I'm always, that's like the gold standard for me. It's like, even when I was investing and trading stocks and stuff, it's like, I was looking for like biotech was my thing in the 90s. And it's like, you know, when there were companies that were really like cutting edge trying to do things to like change and save people's lives, it's like that always was like an extra, incentive for me to invest in that, because it's like not only is it potentially, something I can make money on, but it's like I'm supporting something that's like actually going to do good in the world. So, yeah. So it's like I'm super stoked to see the future if time pays me. I think it's going to make some waves. We're all gonna say like, we knew Maddie back when he was just a YouTube streamer,
Hey,
and then he's
thanks.
like on a jet with like Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and stuff. You know, it's like he wouldn't take my calls anymore. It's like, Maddie,
Maybe.
remember me?
Yeah, you like hexified everything. You like took the ethos of hex and just generalized it. And how general does it go? Like you can time lock. Is it any PRC20 or is it like a specific set?
So the smart contracts definitely allows any PRC, or we launched on Ethereum, so also any ERC20. As far as the front end goes, just like as part of the initial rollout, I wanted to have like basically a list of ones that we, not that I'm taking responsibility for what people are locking, but this idea that, and the auditors seem to agree that it's compatible with anything. But I'm just thinking to myself, is there any token where time locking has more complexities to it, or where you'd be like missing out on some form of yield? Like for example, there's this like PZen token that everybody forgot about, but it had like a unique mechanism of generating interest back to people by updating your balance. And so, so basically like right now you can go to timepays.me and you can time lock any of like the most popular ones that people have asked for. Literally, if anybody asks for any token, we've been able to add it so far. Cool. And then at some point, hopefully soon, you'll just be able to add it yourself, whatever token you want.
You know, what's nice about that too is for for someone who might have started their own tokens, right? You can utilize this as a method to show good faith to the community and lock up your tokens, or a portion of the tokens for a period of time. That changes the whole supply dynamics, which could entice more people to trust what you're doing, in the token that you have out there. So that's something I've toyed around with too. I like that idea a lot.
Among the builders, it seems like people are suggesting that they see a use case there for like, what if the OA of each different token, the majority owner, because you can do a drip or you can do a hard lock. And so you could hard lock all the tokens for up to 55 years, as short as like basically a week. You can also drip back to yourself. And so,
Well, not only that, I can do. I could take a token, set up my LP, and then turn around and take my LP token and lock it. So there's some use cases. Yeah, there's some use cases for the tokenomics and market makers. I'm all about trying to understand market making now, because I didn't understand it before, and so now that I'm understanding it, I realize just because I'm trying to do some things in the background, I'm just beginning to realize just how much responsibility it is for someone to make a market, and that when they make the market, then all these questions come up. Like, listen, I got my PulseChain hat on, guys, so anybody's going to complain that I'm not talking about HEX. I talk 99% about HEX, right? But I have my PulseChain hat on. If somebody creates a new token, first question is, well, how much supply? Well, who has the supply? Well, what if they're going to dump on my head, right? I mean, those are the questions, right? How much liquidity is there going to be? What if they pull the liquidity, right? And those are all real things that actually time pays me can help.
That's huge.
Absolutely. And then another fun one, we figured out after we launched that with the behavior lock, so I did an example of doing a price lock. So I said, if ink goes to $100, then I want my token to be unlocked. And I gave the code to my friends who can like check the price of ink. And of course, with all the behavior locks, it becomes unlocked after a year as like a safeguard in case your friends aren't your friends anymore or something like that. So that's kind of fun. And then, of course, the other thing you can do with Time Pays Me is undo a hack, because everything's kept in a smart contract vault, which is how you kind of keep the supply from yourself. And so that's kind of fun too.
That part was, man, did you add value with that concept? Like that's just like a whole concept in and of itself. And the marketing thing you did, I think, was pretty huge. You were just like, here's a seed phrase on Twitter, like try to hack me. Like what better way to promote the unhack mechanism than that? Like that in and of itself is a whole product. Just saying.
Yeah. And if anybody ever has any ideas on how I can market things and get the word out, I think I related to what Gerardo was saying about like focusing on building for a time. And now I'm kind of going into this transition where it's been built, and now I need to either get the word out to individual users or to other broadcasters or to other tech leaders and businesses that can build it into what they do. So I'm still kind of figuring it all out as a founder myself.
Of course, man. Yeah, and if you have any tips, shoot them my way, because I'm in that phase myself. So
I can imagine some of the. I remember like actually somebody asking Maddie about like, you know, a price point being how you designate the time lock, and he was like, no, I can't do that. And then like real time, like watching Maddie's wheels turn, and it was like, oh wait, and it's like there is a way to do that. And then it's fun to imagine those conversations. It's like, okay, dude, it's at $75. I know I said it had to hit 100 before you'll give me the code, but you know, can we get a deal going here? Like you just give me part of it or something. It's like, I'll put it all right back in, I swear. But yeah, it's cool stuff.
Yeah. So that's, that's really exciting, I think. And of course, you know, time locking isn't everybody's favorite thing during a bear market necessarily, but of course, some people really, really do like to DCA in and DCA out and have that superpower of holding. I'm really curious at this stage in the market what you guys think the market's going to do from here on out, whether you're whether you have an opinion on what PulseChain and HEX are going to do with their price, with their adoption, or maybe you have a comment on what you see in the macro landscape. Gerardo, what are some of your opinions right now on all that?
Front and center. Okay. I mean, when's the next Fed meeting? Let me check. Let me give you an informed answer on that, because it all ties in, right? It's interest rates, it's inflation rates, it's unemployment rates, it's net liquidity across central bank balance sheets in all these countries. It's everything, and it all ties in. So, I mean, show of hands, who's a fan of Benjamin Cowan, Into the Cryptoverse? My original inspiration for Hex Quant. Like that dude, he does not miss. His accuracy is pretty spot on, and I tend to agree with him lately on his thesis, which is pre-halving year, pre-election year. That's what we're in. He compares to 2019 to 2015. You look at the price structure. This recent pump we had this year looks kind of like 2019. First half of the year we go up. Second half of the year Bitcoin goes down. Ethereum goes down versus Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance goes up. Altcoins get wrecked. And then you have to ask yourself, as a PulseChain Hex enthusiast, are my coins altcoins? Do they act like altcoins? Does it mean? It doesn't necessarily mean, in my opinion, if something acts like an altcoin, that it's on the same tier of quality necessarily. Like that's more of a liquidity thing than like a tokenomics fundamentals thing. But just being honest with yourself, being like, okay, these things are acting like altcoins. And so will they bleed versus ETH until we see, you know, either interest rates turn around or the market sniff out the pivot or something? I mean, a lot of questions, right? I like framing my answers as questions so you guys can think for yourselves. It's a lot of moving parts, and cycles don't always repeat; they rhyme. But usually we see Ethereum bleed into December. Usually December is a good buying opportunity for ETH. Things like Pulse and Hex and Pulse Hex and everything we know and love. This isn't even like an opinion. They have lower liquidity than ETH, so they will probably act as leverage plays. But then again, it's an entire separate ecosystem. So you can't treat the entire PulseChain ecosystem like a leverage play on ETH, or can you? I don't know. These are questions to ask, and I don't know. But will another bull cycle come? I believe it will. Whether that's end of this year or early next year, I think it's on the horizon at least. I don't think we can do too much more of what we've been doing for the last 2 years at this point. Man, I remember celebrating when it was a year after November. I was like, a year, bear market over. 1 year later, here we still are. Like, lengthening cycles, maybe? What's that multiple? Right now, it's already, a 2x multiple in lengthening cycles? It's just so many moving parts that it's hard to wrap your head around unless you're like ChatGPT or something. Right. Uncensored ChatGPT, by the way.
Yeah, that's something we were talking about last week too. Is like how much, you really need to be prepared for like the bull. Yeah. And like to Maddie's previous courses on sudden wealth syndrome. The same holds true in the bear. It's like if you during those really heady or emotional times, it's like you typically don't make the best decisions. Yeah. So if you have a plan for scaling out or or DCAing in, either end of the spectrum there, make that plan and stick with it, and try not to ape in or out, because those are decisions that can haunt you forever. And, and we really don't know about the lengthening cycles. And like, I think we're closer to the bull than we were. But we don't know how long this bull's going to last. We don't know how long until the next one. So like, if you fuck it up, pardon my French, it's like, it's going to be a long time before you maybe get another shot. Right. So that's where like staking and chilling comes in, time pays me, things like that. Where it can kind of help. Those tools are there for a reason. Right. And they can kind of save you from yourself. But definitely, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So, have a plan. I think there was a lot of us during those days of, PulseChain is coming any day, that it affected their behavior, right? It's like, I bought not a small bag at 39 cents, like after the top, because I thought, hey, the more hex I've got, the better, because it's all going to get copied, right? And to this day, I've yet to liquidate any or cash out any hex. So, but in the coming bull, I have plans in place for, taking some profits finally. Now, depending on your position, it could be a situation where, maybe you don't touch your hex at all, because there's things like Hedron and, and the Maximus DAO guys, their stuff. There's Icosa. There's, if you're playing around with NFTs, there's other ways where maybe you can take some profit from those things and not even touch your hex, and just kind of stick with that mentality of restaking to earn that, get those sweet TShares, but yeah, it's important. But there's opportunity there to educate yourself and harden yourself, to be prepared for when things take a turn, because it happens fast. And like Gerardo, you probably know as well as anybody, as far as like those pockets of time, those windows when the bull is really happening. Because I think Hex Tangent and I were talking about it once, about how I think it's like in the lifespan of Bitcoin, like if you weren't in, I think it was like for 40 days of like the last 10 years, you missed like the vast majority of the bull run.
Yeah.
It's
I think, it was like a week per year or something crazy, that if you're not there, if you're not positioned at that moment in time, you pretty much miss on like a whole vast majority of the run. It's crazy, man. It just speaks to like, you don't want to be chasing green candles when they're happening, because you might feel the validation of whatever you're buying when it's too late. So yeah, like I said, right now is probably, don't get chopped up in the bear with these moves. Just take it easy. We can have a whole 2x, 3x rallies in a bear. That happens, right? But you want to hold off. In theory, you want to hold off for the 50x's, the 100x's, the 1000x's that we've seen. We've seen it on multiple price charts, not even just HEX. See it on ETH, see it on BNB, on Sol, on all of it, on a lot of it. So yeah, don't get chopped up. Position yourself, and staking and chilling is a really good ethos to have right now. Like I'm at the point where I'm not even looking at price charts as often as I used to, like way less. And that should be a huge indicator how often you find yourself looking at price charts or checking your portfolio. I'm proper bored at this point.
Toby, you're lagging a little bit. Go ahead, Crispy.
Okay, I'll drop out. I'll be right back.
I was just going to say a lot of the new folks coming in, Gerardo, they're not big fans of mining or staking. That's my assessment. Probably like maybe it's a 50-50. I don't know. We're kind of like guessing. So we have plenty of people who hate on staking. They pretty much their advice is, their advice is, let's time the market. Everybody, we're all going to do it together. Let's time it. We're all going to get out at the top. And so that's okay. I mean, because we need that. Every community needs people to do that, right? Or attempt to do it and not make it. But I'm with you. I can never, unless somebody's been doing their own mining staking of HEX, they just don't understand what the hell I'm talking about. And I talk about it 3 times a week, 4 times a week, because they just don't understand just how much that yield, how those rewards are worth, and how much you actually can get, or the concept that your APY floats upwards over time, and that as everybody else leaves the system, you get the rewards, and you can't go back in time. So now you have to take action now, when it doesn't feel great to do it, in order to get those better positions later. It's been pretty interesting, right?
It's fair. You can't blame them. Who is attracted by 10, 20, 30% APY when their bags are going down 10, 20, 30% in a day? It's like, wait, I have to wait a year to make up what I lost in a day. It makes sense. But then again, those same people don't realize that these things, sure, they go down those percentages in a day, but they also go up, as you mentioned earlier, hundreds to thousands of percent in span of a week sometimes.
Sure.
So it's like, that 10% APY after 1000x, that's a lot. It is a lot. The 10% APY after 90% dip doesn't feel so good though.
Do you think that one of the factors there is that these people are more short-term minded than long-term?
Absolutely.
Kind of occurs to me too. I think that just looking at the charts and everything else, and for the timing, kind of like you guys are saying, there might be a week where it's time, right? So you better be ready. But if I look backwards versus forwards, we have less time between now and when I think the first sell indicators will pop than in the past. I mean, we're probably, I'm going to guess, like I was telling these guys last week, I think we're within 14, 16 months of when you ought to be DCing out. Now that's just made up numbers, right, based on 4-year cycle and what we've seen. But I wonder how many people will be ready,
What's 10 cents on the way to $100?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, that's the argument. Hey, listen, you go back and look at the numbers, and you follow things like the golden ratio, or any of the other indicators. And there was, I won't mention the person's name, but there was somebody who sold some HEX in April of 2021, and got a lot of crap for it. And at the time, I wrote the guy and said, hey, congratulations, that was a fantastic job. Why? Because he was in the beginning. He made mega gains. And even though if you had sold in April of 21, you would have missed the whole tail end, right, of going up to 50 cents. You would have still been in profit greatly for another year and a half, and you could be buying right now. And so there are different strategies, there are different methodologies. And it all depends whether you're trying to be the top 1% or not. You know, the guy that can capture all the games. You know.
That's the good thing about people selling is they can buy back if they want and help support the price from going lower. Of course, we had a big move in HEX yesterday, maybe about 20 hours ago or something. I noticed the price was up like 15 or 18% over the previous 24 hours, and then I noticed Silver the Antidote, friend of the show, who hasn't been on in a while. We need to get him back. He had done a thread on X, and he explained what he saw in his chain analysis, that somebody had been accumulating 300 million EHEX, that they had been buying it in like clips of a certain amount of their dry powder, that they had ended up going all the way through, and that like without pushing the price against themselves. So they had been in an accumulation phase for quite some time, and then this was like the end of their buying celebration, where they just started pushing the price up 15 or 20%.
Did you see his latest update this afternoon?
No.
Over. Yeah, so he had indicated he was taking a wait and see approach in the morning, and I think if I read his latest tweet correctly, he was saying, "Hey, it looks like this might be real."
What do you mean real?
Like it may keep going.
Like they have more dry powder than he originally thought?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to speak for him. You have to look at his tweet, but that was the gist of it. That's what I got. Yeah.
Well, he's asking this address to drop him a line. There you go. If you're one of the people watching. Another 106 ETH just added 5 minutes ago. This is 48 minutes ago. Defense inbound, brace for EHEX support /green candles anytime. Wow, this is forward looking. It almost looks like. Wow,
it's a pretty big deal.
And that
this was the end of his tweets at the early this morning, where he was saying, "Hey, he doesn't know whether there'll be more ammunition to protect the price."
And we've seen a third of a cent get defended. At least my memory tells me ever since right after Big Payday, when we went from like 2 cents all the way down to a third of a penny, maybe dipped below a third of a penny, and then it seems like that's actually when we started the Tuesday night show. Quant Gang, we were reporting on a third of a penny hex. Now you can't get both EHEX and PHEX today for a third of a penny. If you want both halves, then you're gonna have to pony up like a whole penny. But
like a whole penny, yeah.
Still well below the all-time high of 55 cents.
EHEX for the win, baby. Hey, so I hang around in Axis's chat sometimes, and so we've and he's been talking about publicly on the streams and stuff. This move on EHEX, he's been telegraphing it for a long time, for a couple of weeks, and called it well in advance. It's pretty interesting, and maybe he'll come on and talk to some people about it. But I mean, multiple X potential move, maybe.
What's 103 ETH going for these days?
A lot.
154K. Is that right?
Not too shabby.
Good chunk of change.
200.
It's chump change for Mintra guys, right?
Ooh, too shabby. No, we value every dollar. Do not get that twisted.
I'm only joking with you. I don't even want you to think that I believe that.
Yeah, I know. All right, guys, let's see. A whole penny for both hexes at a 30,000 hex per T-share rate. Not too bad. Not too bad. Silently crossed 30,000, by the way. Not many people really made a big deal of it.
I
think on PulseChain.
I did a stream on that. On
You did?
PulseChain, it did. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
T-Shares my baby, man. I love T-Shares.
Has it crossed enough yet?
I'd marry me some T-Shares if I could.
The gift that keeps giving.
Money threat.
Once we get the Maximus DAO guys to launch their 15-year perpetual, then you'll really be able to do a proper 55-year stake in time hazing using tokenized hex. But until then, it's just Deci that we have as a perpetual hex contract.
Hey, here's something on that T-share rate thing. For those who are wondering, on PulseChain we're over 30K, and on Ethereum we're under 30K, and that's 30,000 hex per T-share. The reason now, the way it works is because it's a fork contract. The data that we started with, at least at the time of the fork, was the same, and so the share rate, if nobody had made any changes, would have been about the same right now at this moment. But someone who emergency end staked on the Ethereum side, they killed their stake, right? And so because it doesn't exist anymore, it wasn't available to be ended, and so it did not increase the rate over 30,000. So on PulseChain, they did an emergency end stake, they waited, and it increased to 30,000. So this is where you begin to start seeing some differences between the chains and how they work, is based on our actions as miners.
Come on, Rackham, get with it. You're embarrassing us. But also paying us out pretty well. Whoever Panic ended their stake on Ethereum. Now, Crispy, that's one where as a self-proclaimed crypto psychologist, I'm more likely to think that that if somebody's sophisticated enough to hack somebody's wallet and to steal their T-shares on Ethereum by emergency end staking, I would expect that they would also know how to do that on PulseChain, and so it makes it slightly more likely to me that was not somebody being hacked.
I don't know if you took back from what I said that I thought that was a hack. I didn't think it was. Somebody.
No, but I mean, I'm normally thinking it's a hack if somebody EES is like too early at least. Because there's such a criminals are not super long-minded. Most criminals are not going to sit on something because it sort of becomes a race when it's like a really weird situation to have a stake that's been hacked and you're like waiting to see if the hacker ends it or you should end it early and that type of thing is like really weird psychology. But anyway. Thanks for bringing up the fact of that disparity and the fact that Hex is now, it now costs 30,000 Hex per T-share on PulseChain, and that's for a 1-day stake. And I guess for a 10 to 15 year stake, it's now crossed the 10,000 Hex mark, which is more than the starting price of a 1-day stake.
Yes, sir.
It's like a big deal.
I know, man. I know. Every time I start feeling a little fuzzy from all the people, talking about how EHEX is dead, blah, 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 blah. I start feeling fuzzy. I start looking as well. Should I merge the end stake? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to merge the end stake. I'm going to keep my six, right? And so I have the little mental battle, right? Be honest, right? I think about it, like, am I making a mistake, right? Because the FUD gets to you, the fear, about that stuff. But I'm strong, right? I practice every day. I beat the FUD back. But I'm sitting there thinking, I just can't wait, man. I can't wait. So what's the worst case that happens? I guess I hold my TShares and everybody else gets out. I don't know what that hex would be worth, but I'd be getting a lot of rewards on a daily basis. Man, my APR would go through the roof.
We got Brisology in the chat here.
It's my handsome boy there.
Shout out to you.
Woohoo.
There's I did have one more question for Gerardo regarding NFTs. It's I guess Richard Hart related. So Richard Hart, he vowed that if people kept loving NFTs, that someday he would release his own NFT, and that might be something having to do with the Hex diamond or whatever. I'm not really sure what I'm asking here, but do you have thoughts on Richard Hart's NFT or any guesses or alpha there?
Launch on Mintra, man. No, he'd probably launch his own little minting page. Like, why am I giving those guys a 0.0075% fee? I can do my own thing. No, I mean, I'd be happy to see a RH official NFT collection out in the wild. I mean, he already has everything else out there. He has a token, he has an L1, he has a DEX, he has a whole, why not? Why not cherry on top? I think it'd be fun. I'd love to see him do it. It would be a cool arc in his story, going from hating NFTs to launching an NFT collection. That'd be just a fun arc in general, I think. And yeah, it speaks to changing your worldview when things update. But yeah, people still love NFTs, and I saw that comment in the chat. NFTs are so 2021. Yeah, well, so was the Hex top. So get out of here.
Touche.
I think he's speaking a general crypto thing. Yeah, I'd love to see Richard launch NFTs. I think that'd be wholesome, funny, ironic, all sorts of fun adjectives.
Yeah, I think he would be one to try to make it better than any NFT ever, and so maybe he would include some weird utility or something. I see Brisology here, and he's usually the one that prompts us on the crypto news stories for the week, and he comes in with his list of current events in crypto, and we usually make that part of the show. I know for me, it's I can talk about all these topics that are unique to the founders we have on the show and various stuff, but I'm always reading about what's going on in crypto. So I guess that with Brisology being on a leave of absence, I can go into my bookmarks here and see, remind myself. Okay, yeah. So we had. Did you guys see this yesterday? Where there was a fake. So Cointelegraph leaked a false story about the Bitcoin BlackRock ETF being approved, and it really wasn't. And they got. I mean, this moved the markets. The market cap of Bitcoin moved billions of dollars. It's I think Bitcoin went up 5 or 10% in an hour or two. Ethereum was up. Everything was up, and it took about an hour for people to realize that what they had reported wasn't true. They did a post-mortem. They were trying. Obviously, their PR team was trying to save their reputation because this was a huge. I mean, tons of people got liquidated. This is part of the issue of why Bitcoin hasn't gotten an ETF, because the government is claiming that there's too much opportunity for price manipulation. which is like, that's not been upheld by the courts. Like, the court did not agree with the SEC. The court ruled against the SEC. The evidence shows that the price of whatever GBT, like the price of futures contracts of Bitcoin that are traded, like, closely matches the underlying market price, and so that's like the reason why the courts believe that a Bitcoin ETF should not be blocked. A Bitcoin spot ETF is like long-term good for the price of Bitcoin because it doesn't rely on like paper Bitcoin. However, if GBTC gets convertible, that might be short-term bad, because it would the premium or the discount of the price of Bitcoin on GBTC would have to close. However, that's gone from like 45% at the bottom of the bear, like around the beginning of the year, all the way to, I think now it's like negative 15%. So that's promising. But this was like apparently the source that Cointelegraph used to create this mess on Twitter and in all of our portfolios was somebody in Telegram who like deleted their account. Thoughts?
Yeah, good response.
Messy. That intern is not having a good week. Good luck to them. Highlight of their career.
Low light.
Of their career. Man.
End of their career.
But yeah, good point, man. Like with a GBTC net asset value, that discount has slowly been closing. We're at minus 15%. Where earlier in the year we were at like negative 50%. So slowly but surely, people are more incentivized to buy real Bitcoin than paper Bitcoin. Truly, that flip happens when we cross over the 0%. Which we're not quite there yet, but it's chugging up. It's for sure chugging up. Oh, good old crypto mainstream publications. I'll be honest, I'm not too much of a fan of those sites. I had the opportunity to get some articles up there for our launch, and just not a fan, man. Not a fan.
You got some articles launched with Cointelegraph?
I had the opportunity to, but they're like everything, it's pay to play, and they're overpriced, and I don't really like the fact that I go in, you can't find anything about HEX, nothing about PulseChain, nothing about Richard Hart. So like, why would we, play on their playground? There are definitely other publications that we can go to with more reach. They're just kind of what all the crypto bros know, but even I don't read them. I don't know if you guys do. I don't read a Cointelegraph. I don't read a CoinDesk.
In years.
Exactly. That's episode 2017.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
that's what I was reading.
Yep. Well, shoot, guys. I think I'm gonna hop. Oh, nope. Just kidding.
I'm just going through my bookmarks here, and this was more another piece of news that dropped, I guess, before Gerardo takes off here. We'll have him comment on this story that Mint, hashtag MINT, which is looks like the token of Mintra.io or .ai, will have an initial supply of, is that 2.3 billion?
Yep.
That is correct.
That's a lot.
That is the user-owned supply. That is originally we were going to double that, and there was going to be a no expectations address holding that same amount. It was going to be matched, and we said may or may not mint an extra 2.378 billion coins, and it was following in the footsteps of Richard Hart. But then some careful thought. A lot of thought went into this decision, but it was made, and there will be no team tokens, no centralized tokens in my wallet, in dev wallets, none of that.
Nice.
Take that as you will, but it's a lower supply. I think it's better.
Yeah, I mean that it adds more certainty, it seems like, to the tokenomics and to the game theory. So we're always a fan of like that type of transparency and certainty.
Yep.
I mean,
Well,
let's be
in all
honest.
sense.
What would happen if Richard burned all of his hex tomorrow?
Or hard locked it in 10 pays me for 55 years.
Or hard locked it in his locking protocol of choice? Yeah. Like, you know, I think that would be a bullish thing in general.
That would be
so.
super bullish.
There you go. So instead of doing something like that, we're just never minting them in the first place.
I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
I mean,
think
plus
so,
it's
too.
like, it sounds like you've got good product market fit and a good team
so.
getting this thing rolled out. So if they, if Mintra becomes a leader in the NFT market space, then I think that's all super bullish because it just removes one uncertainty, right?
What do you mean if?
I don't have a crystal ball. It seems. I mean, I'm bullish on it. It's like I sacked for it. I'm hoping good things. I'm interested in learning more. But time
This
will
was
tell.
Crystal Ball Gang.
Yeah, right.
That's
kind of.
right.
A little bit.
Well, yeah. Well, we're really looking forward to seeing the final products be launched and to see your continued success in crypto here, Gerardo. I definitely want to thank you for all that you've contributed to the space and for coming on the show tonight. We're it's going to be really cool to see, and we're hoping we'll be able to have you back on the show again to learn more together along the way.
Love the show, man. Love what you guys are doing. Thank you, Maddie, ChrispyMan, Toby. You guys each in your own ways are contributing more than you know. And even after being MIA for so long, I appreciate that you guys still welcome me with open arms. And it's like I never left because I have been here. I've just been building. Been quiet, but building, but I'm here. And just a reminder to everyone, I'm here. You guys are here on the weekly, episode 83. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, man. Great being on with you.
Make sure to follow Gerardo on all the links in the description below. And ChrispyMan, Tobiwan, where can people find you?
On X primarily, and then of course here on Tuesday nights with you guys. So on X it's at Tobiwan_Hexobi, and occasionally I still do my little TA tweets and just living life and riding out the bear with the rest of you and trying to stay positive and look to the future. So happy to be here as always. Gerardo, was great being on with you. Crispy, Maddie, you guys have a good night.
You too, Toby. You can find me right here, right now. Stay in the moment. Hexfire.io. You go to the website, hexfire.io, or you can go over to right here on YouTube, Hexfire.io, or Twitter, the old X, Hexfire.io. There we go.
Awesome. Well, until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Stake wisely.
It's a good one.